following on the ground for the past few days is what's happening at Wits. Well, here is the latest. The SRC, Student Representative Council, has suspended student protests for 24 hours, while the representatives say Wits management is arrogant and not willing to come to the table. So quite a lot has been happening in the last 24 hours, and still there for us is eNCA reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones. Let's go back there again outside the gates of Wits SRC this time. Pule, let's first of all start with the suspension of the protests for 24 hours. What's led to that?
Definitely, that was the word coming out from that media briefing that took place earlier on, where the Wits SRC said they would cease fire for the next 24 hours, but they would also want the institution to look into the demands of ensuring that the private security and police officials are removed off campus, and that the suspension of the other members of the SRC is lifted before they can go into talks for the other demands, which includes the 45,000 Rand NSFAS accommodation cap. And you can see behind me, there's still a bit of security personnel who are here just guarding and looking at what's happening currently, Gareth, to ensure that nothing happens, to ensure that some of the suspended SRC members don't make their way onto campus. But joining me right now, of course, I'll be speaking to one of the suspended SRC members. Of course, this is the president who was suspended, Apiwe Mnyamana, who speaks to us this afternoon. Apiwe, thank you very much for your time. Let's chat about what's the way forward right now. Of course, you can't go into campus, but you're saying that meeting cannot take place between the Wits management and SRC without some of the suspended members being present.
Yes, that's the SRC view, that's our view. If the Vice-Chancellor wants to meet us, then he must temporarily and lift all our suspensions so that we can go to that conversation. There won't be a meeting with the Vice-Chancellor if all SRC members are not there. That's one of our demands. And the Vice-Chancellor is saying he wants to meet us, but if there is to be a meeting with the SRC must cease fire. And we have listened to the demands of the Vice-Chancellor. We have ceased the fire. Now it's up to the Vice-Chancellor to listen to our demands. If really the Vice-Chancellor wants moratorium and peace, the Vice-Chancellor must uplift those suspensions so that we discuss the reasons why are we protesting. That meeting with the Vice-Chancellor, it will be solely to discuss why are these students not accommodated, why we are the Vice-Chancellor and we have the budget to accommodate them. That meeting will discuss why are these students not registered while we are the Vice-Chancellor and we have the budget to accommodate. That's what we want to discuss. We must not lose focus of the protest. The protest is about these students being accommodated. The protest is about these students being allowed to access higher education. The protest is about the cap of 45,000, which has been implemented by NSFAS. And yesterday, we were in the point where NSFAS was ready. NSFAS chair, Mr. Enes Khoza, was ready to meet the Vice-Chancellor. Mr. Lusufi Panyaza was ready to meet the Vice-Chancellor. Buti Manamela was ready to meet the Vice-Chancellor. Us as an SRC, we were ready to meet the Vice-Chancellor, but the Vice-Chancellor is saying no. So it's really concerning me of why is the Vice-Chancellor saying no? If maybe we can get the Vice-Chancellor on media, tell us why doesn't he want to meet the SRC? Because we've been transparent all the stage, but there is something wrong. The Vice-Chancellor must come out and speak publicly. He must stop sending Shirona Patel, because Shirona Patel is misleading the country. Shirona Patel right now in the interview said the Vice-Chancellor is prepared to meet me, but I must speak to Jerome.
Who's Jerome again?
Jerome September is the Dean of Student Affairs. And we told them, yeah, the demands. But Jerome September is saying the meeting will happen without you. So the Vice-Chancellor is negotiating in bad faith. He has asked us to cease fire, but he has not ceased fire. I cannot access campus. Let me access campus and have the meeting with the Vice-Chancellor.
So Shirona says that they're working with urgency to ensure that they accommodate those students who've been sleeping on school premises, on the corridors and in libraries as well. Have you guys been made aware of this?
We are not aware of that. Wits University gave us 500 beds of hardship accommodation. All those students are fine, but there are students who are still sleeping in our libraries. What we are asking for out of all these things, that the Vice-Chancellor must say, we have the list of students. We have the list. Let's give them the list, let them accommodate the students. Those are not registered, we'll give them the list, let's accommodate the students. That's all we are asking for. If they want to continue with charging us, persecuting us in the court of law, we will continue because we have our legal grounds. My suspension was unconstitutional. They are not telling you that. They said I failed to appear while I stated to them I won't be able to make it today. So they've abused my legal rights. They've abused Wits, has abused those rights.
Was there a hearing before you were suspended?
Legally speaking, I'm not an expert in law, but there are 3 steps. You serve someone the notice, you said there is hearing on the 10th, and I must say I'll be available on the 10th. Then after the hearing, then you can suspend. But the hearing did not take place because I told Wits University at that certain time that you want me to appear for the hearing, I won't be available. Let's postpone it to another day. But Wits said, no, we don't care whether you are there or not. We'll continue to suspend you without any legal representation. That's what has happened.
Maybe just in conclusion, what's the way forward from here? Are you going to make your way into campus, or what are you going to do next now?
I'm waiting for Sharon and Jerome to tell me where is the venue for the meeting. If then the meeting does not happen, we are ceasing fire for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, the protest will continue because the protest is not about my suspension. The protest is not about the suspension of other students, but the protest is about students who are sleeping in my office, in our offices. It's about students who are eligible to register, but who cannot register. So the protest is about that, and the protest is about the 45% cap. So the protest will continue because those are genuine demand, and we are willing to take it as far as Wits wants to take it, to tell them they must accommodate these students.
All right, thank you. Appiah Mnyamana, the suspended SRC president, giving us just an update as to what is the way forward. As you've heard, Gareth, they will continue with the protest if the meeting does not take place in 24 hours, and if it doesn't include some of the suspended SRC members. But before I throw it back to you, Gareth, let's take a listen to what the Wits spokesperson Sharona Patel had to say earlier on when we spoke to her regarding these issues.
The SRC should actually put those demands through the Dean of Students, and if they really do, they need to request a meeting so that we can continue with dialogue and with engagement. We do believe that they've made 3 demands. The first demand was that the police be removed from campus. We've agreed to that. The police are off campus already, so there's no police on campus. The second is on the private security and the reduction of the private security. And we've agreed that as things calm down, and if there are no infringements on on anything, if there are no damage to property, if things are peaceful and calm, we will reduce the number of protection services people that we have gradually. And if they commit to that in writing, through the Dean of Students, we have no issue. But and we'll get the private security off the campus then. But we do need to have a commitment from the SRC that will in fact happen. No intimidation, no blocking of entrances, no disruption of lectures, and no damage to property. Those are 4 conditions there.
All right, we'll go back to Wits again a little bit later here on eNCA. Pule Letshwiti-Jones will stay on the ground for us, bringing us the latest updates as he gets them. Now, to one of the biggest